something I find really interesting is the concept of nervous system activation. So, we have fight, flight, rest and digest, sympathetic, parasympathetic. Basically, when you go into sympathetic activation, you used to see a tiger, now we see a bill. So a quick little interjection. Basically, when I said the tiger and the bill, if you're not familiar with that, essentially, ancestrally, our body was primed to run from a threat. So we used to see a tiger and our body would go into activated mode, run up a tree, and that would be how we survive. Nowadays, we still have that primal instinct, but obviously there's no tigers, at least not here in Australia. Plenty of other things. What we do see mostly is psychological threats that still have that same primal response. So when we see a bill, let's say rent due, and potentially if our money is low, we're like, where does that come from? How do we do that? And our body goes into this activated state. Now, the problem with this is we have so many threats these days, especially around finances, but also emotional. Let's say it's when interacting with another, they have a disagreement and we feel like we might be ostracized from the tribe. Many different threats like this create that activation in the nervous system. And if we don't turn them off, then we could be stuck in this sympathetic state that keeps us in fight or flight. And back to the program. Basically, that creates an increase of heart rate, blood flow going to the extremities from the organs, and basically preparing our limbs to be able to move quickly. Now, what also happens there, blood flow going from organs, inner being, to outer, superficial, it creates a level of basically stress, but also reactivity within us. So let's say when you're in a high stress state and someone says something to you, you can really fire back. So when that happens, your blood flow has gone from within the brain to outside the brain. Not completely, but a little part of it. Enough that the awareness at least has. So what I think is key is when you can bring that awareness from the outside back in, then that's going to allow you to inhabit the body and inhabit the mind. And that's ultimately what presence is, in my opinion, is the ability to be within the body and mind and not operating from the outside superficial reactive state, but instead being connected with your authentic self within.